Okay, sorry about that, everybody. My sincere apologies. I'm going to have to now go through the big drama of making sure everybody gets the new link, which is going to take me a second. All right, that goes there. All right, the joys of YouTube. All right, so we'll get rid of that. So unfortunately, life happens and you have to sometimes switch things out if you get a buffering, all that other fun stuff that can happen. So I'm just going to give everybody a minute to join me. I need to give up the, let's see here. All right, so I deleted the other link so that people won't be confused. And then I just opened up the other one. Okay. So, hello, everyone. Wow, that was fast. I just looked over here and I had all these messages. That was great. Thank you, everybody. Apologize for that. So hopefully the new stream is fine. That's annoying when that happens, but it's a spiritual lesson for me to go with the flow and not be so uptight about things that I can't control. Anyway, how's everybody doing? How's Sunday going for you? Everybody having a good time? I'm glad things are looking good. You know, it was nice. I left for Iceland, but I was really responsible. I cleaned the house really, really well. And the next door neighbor was babysitting Mila. And when I got home, the house was spotless and Mila was loved and it was great. I was just like, what a great, I didn't come home to a disaster, which is always nice. And I'm wearing some beautiful earrings. Are these not beautiful? These are gifts from Michelle Knight. And I actually got her something too, which I'm going to be mailing today. I got some nice jewelry from Iceland. Anyway, so good speaking with everybody. Good talking with everybody. So what do people think about the latest stuff that's going on politically in the world right now, huh? Oh, thank you. I like them too. Very pretty. She's a very sweet, generous person, Michelle. All right, so somebody sent a memo, right? That's the big news, is that number 45 sent a memo to the Justice Department asking the Justice Department to basically participate in a soft coup against the federal government. Does everybody know about this? It's so interesting what's going on politically right now. So we have number 45. He sent a memo. I was thinking about, you could make a little song from it. We got the memo and they got the memo and you got the memo and they got the memo. We all got the memo, right? So what did the memo say? It basically said, so number 45 sends a memo to Barr basically saying, me and the Republican congressman will take care of the rest. All you have to do is set the stage and we'll take care of the rest. So it's just kind of amusing and horrifying. But I did do a remote view on this. Yeah, we all got the memo, right? Everybody got the memo. So the memo is like a smoking gun. I am attempting to overthrow the United States government, and Barr was gone already. Barr left because supposedly he refused to take over the coup, and then the new person got it right and refused to participate. It was notes taken of a meeting. Well, the point is, Rosen, naughty, naughty, naughty. So, yes, Trump is in trouble. But when I did a remote view, I think there's something like 15 congressmen that are going to be called out. All God's children got the memo, according to Rita. All God's children. Yes, all God's children got that memo. So, I follow the energy. This is a technique I want to talk about Tuesday for those of you who take HCRV and you're trying to learn about how to do remote viewing from a heart-centered, the old way. The old ways are the best ways, right? This is the old shamanic techniques we're using. We try to put ourselves, this is the art of war. If you've read the book, The Art of War, you know your enemy, and you put yourself in the shoes of your enemy so that you can understand how your enemy is thinking. We all know what we think. We all know what our biases are, right? But when you put yourself in the shoes of another person and you see through their biases, then the world looks very, very different. So it's always fun when you're a heart-centered remote viewer to put yourself in the shoes of another person, and then it all makes so much sense, and then I get to get yelled at. Like if I put myself in the shoes of Ivanka Trump, or if I put myself in the shoes of who's Lynn Spears or Jamie Spears, I always get the most dislikes depending upon how much that person is disliked if I do a remote view and I put myself into the shoes of the other person. So I put myself in the shoes of Congress, the American people, etc. And I followed this energy with Donald Trump forward a couple of years. I think there's going to be a plaque or some memorial to the administration's attempts to overthrow the federal government and how it was thwarted. I think a lot of information is going to come out about it. And I think that 15 Congress people will be named, and I think they'll be stripped of their duties, and I don't think they'll be allowed to participate in the future. And I think it's a long investigation. But I feel like 15 people will be linked to this attempt. So it's not just the people that are the most obvious. It's, it's 15 people actively participating. So if they've actively participated in an attempt to overthrow the government, and if the feds are already letting us see this memo, then I really feel that the leaks are always 3 months ahead, 3 to 6 months, right? Because once the feds already have all the information, they can just release it to the general population, right? The public. So, yeah, I think that a lot of Congress people, and including senators, are in trouble because, like Josh Hawley, and I think that I would not be surprised if people were completely stripped of everything. If you're in the military and you were a part of this, you're going to lose everything. This is like court-martial material. But when I did the meditation, it was something like 15 or more Congress people were linked to this. So what do y'all think? Pretty scary, huh? How close we got to losing our democracy. Jordan, also Kavanaugh. If you're smart and you're Kavanaugh and you don't want to have a bad reputation, you may want to retire early. Because if he retires early, he's not going to have to face the fact that they have to investigate those 4,200 complaints about him. And the White House and the FBI and the people that were responsible also have to answer to the fact that they basically participated in the crazy, right? Okay, so there's 435 of us. Would everybody like to get a community reading today? Are we ready for that? Yeah, it's interesting that they're traitors and yet they talk as if they're loyal Americans because they're so far down the rabbit hole that they don't realize that they're agents of a foreign government that's attempting to destroy the United States. And specifically, they want to do to the United States what Putin feels we did to the former Soviet Union. They want to collapse our United States the way we collapsed a united Soviet Union. That's basically how they feel. All right, so I think we'll do the empath's prayer. We'll go in and we're going to give everybody a collective reading. And then after that, we will do some blitzes. Does that sound good for people? Yay, blitzes. All right, let's do it. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those we may have strife with. And together collectively, we say, Amen. Let's go in. What is going on with the community? What spiritual lessons do we need to hear right now? Okay, where we are at right now collectively as a group, this is the time of consolidation. There's a fun word, consolidation. Consolidation is an interesting word that I think about when I think about medicine, how our brains consolidate information. And sometimes we tell ourselves stories. You know, sometimes we do certain things in order to feel good about our lives. But Five of Cups, the thought that comes to me is consolidation. So when I go into this energy, there's a feeling that you and I are at a point in our lives where we are assessing what we have and what we don't have. It's like a type of account and reckoning. What have we lost and what remains? What have we lost and what remains? I know Bugs Bunny, but we're not going to do her channel today. We're working on my channel today. So as much as I love her. Okay, so the Five of Cups is coming in, which is the base of the matter. And that is the person that looks at what they lost in the past, and the person that has to go back and look at what remains. So there is a consolidation or an assessment. This is what I need to let go of. This is what I need to hold on to. So this is a time in your life where it's really about doing an account and a reckoning of one's home. What do you want to keep and what do you want to donate and what do you want to sell on eBay and what do you want to sell at the yard sale? So you have a Five of Cups moving in. We don't know what we have until we do an assessment. We don't know what our financial situation is until we figure out what our debt is, how much we owe, how much we still have, how are our investments coming along. And Five of Cups is the ability to accept the fact that some things are gone forever, some relationships are gone forever, some lessons that were supposed to be learned. That's, this is the time to learn those lessons and move on. It's the time to look at what you have now and work with what you already have. The truth of the matter is, I was thinking about young people today, last couple of days, and how the things from the past, when you're young, like when you're in your teens, your 20s, your 30s, it's all about dating. It's all about romance. It's all about thinking that there's nothing more important than finding the one. But when you're 58 years old, hopefully your entire life isn't about trying to find somebody to give your life meaning. That's not really where we're at. Right now, this is a feeling that we are deciding for ourselves what kind of life we want to live. And I think it's a good thing that some of us are not young anymore, because let's face facts, being young wasn't always that great. So Five of Cups, look at what remains and look at what you need to do in order to create heaven on earth for yourself right now. And if things are taking too much energy, if you're think about it, how much time are you spending on stuff that is not getting you anywhere you need to go? Too much drama, right? Well, Joe said this and Joe doesn't like me. Well, Bob said this and Bob doesn't like me. So why does this, worrying about things we have no control over, worrying about he said, she said, spending years of our life thinking about a past that's come and gone. That is really not where we want to be focusing. We want to be focusing on the here and now, what you have right now, what remains, and how you can create a happy life for yourself here and now with what you currently have. The Karma card is the Four of Wands, which is to build a new life. It's to build a new direction or a new road for yourself. The first house, I can't read this and give a reading, so people, please, if you could just stop talking to me. I would love to talk to you, but I need to just give this reading, and I can't do both. And I really want to honor the people that came to get their reading. So if you could just hold off on comments right now, it would be really great. Okay, so where we're at right now is the Page of Swords. Page of Swords is also the archetype of Michael, the Archangel Michael, who comes with the sword and takes on the devil and beats the devil. So Archangel Michael is also associated with the truth, or the ability to speak one's truth. I like the fact that this is sitting in your first house, because it means that you're now at a point in your life where you can see the truth of what is without sugarcoating it. It's the ability to see things as they are rather than how we would like them to see. The ability to let things go from the past and turn around and see what remains and build a new road or a new life for yourself based on what is real. What crosses you, the obstacle? The obstacle is actually your own creative abundance, and the fact that when you see the truth of who you are, you will also see the greatness of who you are and just how much potential you have, particularly as artists. I'm seeing a lot of creative energy in this community. You can see the crossing card is the Empress, which is the ability to allow the creative energy to flow through you, to not say no to yourself, to continue to allow yourself to try creative things. I'm doing that in the kitchen right now. I'm taking all these organic ingredients and I'm just mixing them up. I'm throwing mint into something. I'm adding a little endive, letting yourself be creative and not be so held back by rules and restrictions. Also, Empress can be Gaia, or the energy of the earth, healing our lives, healing the planet, participating in creating heaven on earth here and now, which of course would be to create an eco-friendly home that is good for the planet, good for you, good for everybody. What sits in our fourth house is the Queen of Swords. That's the archetype of the person who can put the past behind them and looks towards the future, again, holds the sword of truth. So this is a time of truth seeking, being grounded in reality, being grounded in what is real, and building a life for you based on who you are, what your potentials are, and an abundance of creativity comes to you in the coming months. What you sit in, there's a part of you that's always going to be a dreamer. There's a part of you that's always going to be an idealist. That's fine, so long as you're organized and you're actually building those dreams and not just wasting your life dreaming your life away. Because in the third house, we have the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Cups is the dreamer. She dreams, she rubs her lamp, and she imagines. So this is talking about a community that's unbelievably imaginative, unbelievably creative, and has unbelievable potential to produce a lot of really positive changes for themselves. I do feel for many people, and it could be because of COVID and also changes that people have gone through in the last couple of years, that we're almost at a point where we feel like we're hiding in our own homes. This is the problem when we acquiesce land to sociopaths or bullies. They push us and push us and push us until we're fighting for our small little bit of land, and they've taken everything else. So we're coming out of the 9 of Wands, which is a feeling of defensive and fighting back against possibly a feeling of being attacked by the outside world. We're entering into a time, though, of joy. 3 of Cups enters into the 6th house, and 3 of Cups is a card that we associate with celebration, happiness. It can be a positive event, or it's almost like it's almost like a time when we're giving ourselves permission to be happy, rather than telling ourselves we can't be happy right now. No, it's not acceptable to be happy right now. We have to work. We have to be responsible. That kind of energy, if it's too excessive, if you're so controlling, you don't allow yourself to have any joy at all, that's what's we're doing away with. Giving yourself permission to create the life you want for yourself. Where you're at right now, justice. You seek justice absolute. This could be also holding people accountable that did not hold up their end of the bargain, possible legal matters, appropriate boundaries. In Hebrew, the word is din, boundaries. Gevura, if you're looking at the Sfirot, if you're looking at Kabbalah, it's called the energy of Gevura, or boundaries, din, the law. Learning that compassion cannot exist without healthy boundaries. What others in relationship to us, people around us, people who care about us, could feel like we're moving on, that we've moved past them to such an extent that they feel like they no longer have the ability to control us. Maybe you were controlled in the past by relationships. Maybe you were manipulated by the past. People, these new changes that are happening in your life are making it very difficult for people from the past to control you the way they used to. You can see the 8th house is the 9 of Swords. The other in opposition to you feels a sense of guilt, shame, or inability to control the situation now. So I would say if you've experienced some bad things from another person, whether it was abuse or exploitation in a relationship, and now you're fighting back, I would say that the other person knows they screwed up and unfortunately can't fix it. And this is a source of tremendous unhappiness for the other person, because they're now stuck seeing quite clearly who you are. And it came because you're starting to see yourself clearly. You now know who you are. You now know your worth. And so consequently, nobody can screw you over the way that they once did, which is incredibly unhappy for the person that benefited by exploiting you, right? But you've got that boundary energy coming in. The hope and the fear for you, your business. You're somebody who could be focusing on what is your business, your dreams, your goals, the choices and changes you have to make for yourself, and not so much focusing on what others have to do. The Queen of Pentacles. The businesswoman, she's about her business, is the hope and the fear. And the final outcome for you is you will be victorious in your goals within 6 months. The victory card comes to you. So if you're starting any projects, dreams that you're trying to fulfill, that you're working on, there'll be major progress for you over the next 6 months. And then I'll do a clarification for you. Continue to have strong boundaries, grounded in reality when it comes to your relationship with others, and the discipline and the respect you show your dreams. Your dreams should be respected, and you should be organized and about your business, making them happen, and really be careful about letting others have access to you who may not have respected you in the past. In terms of the other who you had conflict with, unfortunately, some people don't want to change. You have an inverted high priestess, which can be deceptive and vindictive. So people who believe people, when they show you who they are, believe them. So anybody who's betrayed you, used you, or lied and promises that now things will be different, don't believe it unless you see real genuine change in those people. The hope and the fear for you, your own temptations, your own lack of discipline. Watch your own temptations, watch your own challenges with addiction and codependency. And then the final outcome for you over your dreams, inverted Four of Pentacles. Continue to be frugal and responsible with your finances. With an inverted Four of Pentacles, continue to look at your stuff and continue to be about your business. An inverted Four of Pentacles could indicate that the person's being possibly frivolous with their finances. So it's another thing to be mindful of, just to be a little bit more careful in terms of how you spend your money. All right. So thank you, everyone, for letting me get through the community reading. Hopefully that gave everybody a positive reading. All right, now I can open up the floors, and because I can't read, and then it just was getting to be. So thank you for holding questions until I could come back. All right, did everybody like that? LaRond McBrayer is talking about Swalwell. Yeah, Swalwell is awesome. Yeah. So let's see. Oh, I like that, Rita. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Begin the journey today. Amen. I like that. Very nice. All right. So when everybody's ready, unless people want to continue to talk about the group reading, I'm glad it resonated. We can go ahead and do some blitzes when everybody's ready to give the blitz call. We can do that. And I think we've got some interesting questions starting to come in as well. Blitz us. Rita says blitz, 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 blitz away. Okay, so I think what everybody is, thank you. I'm getting the order, so I got to get to work. All right. Well, so who here knows about number 45's memo? Yeah. Does everybody know what we're talking about when we talk about the fact that he was trying to work with Republicans to, not good. So I think the first blitz we're going to do is going to be on whether or not there's going to be any consequences to number 45 giving the memo and then we also have a question about Mark Meadows. So we're going to do the consequences of the memo by 45, and then after that, we'll go ahead and we'll answer Foggy. We'll look at Foggy Ozark. Sound good? All right, we'll just do Blitz. All right, what are the consequences of what's going to happen as a result of the memo that number 45 that got released requesting a soft coup? Is there going to be any consequences to that? All right. Yeah, I think the consequences are that the Republican Party is going to kick Donald Trump out of the Republican Party. It looks like this will escalate to a point where the tough decision is going to be made, where the Republican Party has no choice but to disavow this president and kick him out of their party. If he's going to run again, he would have to run as an independent with this type of energy. The GOP attempting to go into smoother waters. They're dealing with a con man or trickery with a Two of Pentacles. That's the clown juggling coin, rocky waters. And then we have Trump's card. And then the final outcome for the GOP in response to the memo is they're hanging him up. So I really feel like this is going to go from bad to worse to awful really, really quickly. I think that the feds are starting to show their cards. And I think as a consequence of that, they will completely the point is going to come when the Republican Party have to renounce this guy because he's not only destructive, he's a threat to the future of the party. His time is running out. I feel like his time is running out, and that you can see here they're taking control of their party, trying to steer it in a different direction. The time with the money, the con artist is over. The Wheel of Fortune comes in over to 45. Here's some evidence against him being presented by the feds. He's got legal action against him. I think what amazes 45 so much is the fact that he has so little power after he left the White House. I think he thought that he was going to continue to have the power, but the American system doesn't work like that. Once you're no longer president, that's it. You no longer have the former presidents are not in the American system supposed to have any power other than they write a book, maybe they start a charity, but they're not really supposed to have any political power. And then you can see the GOP hanging them up. There's not going to be a new beginning. An inverted page of wands would mean that Trump probably has no future in the GOP. I don't even think they can use him anymore to raise money after this starts to blow up. So if he hasn't been if he has not been charged with a crime, the problem is I don't think he's been charged yet. Okay, so we have a question from Foggy Ozark, and she writes, he, she, they, I'm not quite sure. Mark Meadows, is he a corporate criminal? So we're going to go ahead and now take a look at Mark Meadows, if he's one of, because when I did a hit last night, there was something like between 15 and 17 Congress people that were accused, something, how many senators were involved, how many Congress people were involved, etc. But let's look at Mark Meadows. Trump actually wanted the feds to pay for the legal defense of him saying it was his duties to basically try and overthrow the federal government. And that's really not going to work. But here's the future of Mark Meadows. It was fun. All right, Mark Meadows. I feel that when I go into the energy of Mark Meadows, like he is trying to appease Donald Trump and he is trying to appease Donald Trump's cronies because they don't feel that he's emotionally stable and they somehow feel threatened by his erratic behavior. It's interesting when you go into the energy of Mark Meadows, it's like he's back and forth trying to communicate what the Republicans want. It's like he's a mediator between Trump and the Republican Party and trying to the Republican Party trying to calm down this temperamental, emotionally unstable person who they feel still has some value in the Republican Party. Ten of Wands is like carrying the load, going from point to point, trying to work as like the Trump whisperer between the GOP and Trump. This unholy alliance or this unholy partnership. The Knight of Pentacles is like a stopgap, and it could indicate that the relationship between the Republican Party, that dialogue back and forth that they were trying to create, has come to an end or could be coming to an end. There is this desire to try and make Trump happy. It's almost like they want him to retire to a nice facility for seniors, and they will work what they can to clean up his reputation and memory. But other than that, I don't see much of a future between Donald Trump and the GOP in terms of how much they really want him to retire and be the noble former president and maybe bring him out occasionally to help with fundraisers. But other than that, I don't see a future between them and him. Because of mounting evidence against him. You can see here, crash is coming and then evidence. So it's almost like they're trying to talk to him to get him to agree to just move along. You know, a nice retirement home for people over 70, you know, wealthy retired people like former presidents. And they just want to soften everything because this is starting to look like they're trying to cut cords with this guy. That's the best way to describe it. So in terms of Mark Meadows, what I see for him in relationship to all of this, I think he's going to be implicated. I think he's going to be linked to possibly questionable activity because of the Tower coming into his cards and the Three of Pentacles, which could indicate the construction of a case against him. It just feels to me like a lot of members of the House are not going to be able to run because they're under criminal investigation. You know, it's odd. All right, so I would say that Mark Meadows and everybody who participated with the former administration is gone because of the ongoing investigation. They're going to try and distance themselves as much as possible from 45. That's basically how I would look at it. Okay. Let's see what other questions we have here. Oh, Fox. Yeah, they're very strange. Yeah, they're trying to get him to move on. There was a question about the person who used to own Hotel Rwanda. Does anybody know about this? about the gentleman who used to own Hotel Rwanda. He was supposedly protecting people in Rwanda who, during the mass genocide, evidently his sister was being spied on using Israeli software or something like that. I don't know. So there's a question here about, let me see if I can find the post. There was a good question here about it. Kind of depressing if he was part of it. Paul Rusesabagina, Hotel Rwanda, and the question about whether or not he's a terrorist. I think that was the question. Okay, let's go ahead and post this. As soon as I can figure out how to do that. All right. Okay, let's see here. All right. Okay, so this question is coming from Race 44. Let's go ahead and pin it and find out if he was involved at all and what the legal consequences are going to be. Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's see about what is going on with the gentleman from Rwanda, from Hotel Rwanda. There is a link. It looks like there's a link between the gentleman from the Hotel Rwanda and possibly supporting certain political parties. That's how it looks. So say, for example, because he was a businessman, he wanted to support the equivalent of the Republicans or the conservatives. Maybe he tended to have a more conservative business bent. But I don't think that he, based on these cards, I don't think he took it seriously. It's kind of like you back the conservatives or you back Trump and you don't think that Trump is actually going to overthrow the government. So there's something about him being mildly associated with certain political parties that may have been involved in this kind of behavior. You can see here information coming out about him. The fact that he had some kind of dialogue or relationship with certain political parties that were questionable. There's new information about it, but he looks to be victorious. In plainer words, I don't think that he was responsible for that. It's not saying that he's responsible for genocide. They're saying that as a businessman, he tried to get along with the business sector. And because he was trying to get along with the business sector, he sometimes tried to be friendly with certain groups that later went on to participate in the genocide. And that's the connection, rather than actually ordering a genocide. That's basically what it shows. Hope that helped. Okay. So much information. All right. So there's a lot of questions about COVID, the Delta variant. So let me talk a little bit about this Delta variant. The concern is a couple things. Number one, this virus started off as relatively mild with about a 1% to 2% mortality rate in people that didn't get vaccinated. Now it's becoming more virulent, more contagious, and the mortality rate is increasing with the Delta. The concern now is that we will see Delta, because nobody's getting, in certain areas, people are not getting vaccinated. The concern is that Delta will now emerge into a new form, whatever we're going to call it Gamma or whatever we call it. And that new form will be 10 times more virulent and 10 times higher mortality rate. The concern is that it's going to start going every time we do nothing. It mutates into a more virulent form, a more contagious form, and a more aggressive form. That is the concern doctors are having, until eventually only those people who can get boosters every 4 to 6 months are going to live. I mean, this is the worst case scenario for this virus. And if you're talking to people that have no scientific education and they're just reading Mercola, who got everything wrong, he doesn't even make any sense. He's the one that's rambling about DNA, even though there's no DNA in it. Your potential, I said to people as a joke, if this is a Chinese conspiracy, it's working the opposite of what people think. So say you had a Chinese, I'm not saying this is what happened, but this is where my mind goes when I imagine. Say you invent a fake virus in a lab. Say you invent COVID in a lab, COVID-19 in a lab. And only the people who are educated, who believe in science, who have enough education to know what's going on, they will be the ones that will have access to the vaccines and access to the science, and they're going to live. But the people who are uneducated, the people who get their information from social media and don't understand how to look at data because they don't have the education to look at data, they don't know how to fact check, they don't know how to go to Google Scholar, they don't know how to look at the parameters of a study, those people will not get vaccinated, and they will ensure that we have a B version, a C version, a D version, an E, an F version. And every time we have a new version, it becomes more and more and more and more virulent until all the stupid people and uneducated people and people that didn't have access to resources, or people whose immune systems or for health reasons couldn't get vaccinated, all those people are going to get weeded out. So it's almost like if you were going to have a conspiracy that there was a biological weapon created by China, that would be where my head would go. Not that the vaccines are scary, but that the people who lack the education to understand how vaccines work won't get vaccinated. And that's the conspiracy, right? So if there ever was going to be a conspiracy, that's the conspiracy. The people that are up on the data get vaccinated. The people that don't understand data won't. Anyway, that is, I don't think that's what's going on, but that would be more likely than fear of a vaccine. But so the first question has to do with the Delta virus. People who are vaccinated can spread it. We can test positive, but you can be a carrier without getting sick. It just means you had an exposure. So if you had an exposure and you test positive, it doesn't mean you're going to get sick if you're building antibodies. Most healthy people, when they get vaccinated, are going to have antibodies. No, Rita, that's not how it works. We take courses at Johns Hopkins. We take our virology and public health through Johns Hopkins, and because we understand how a vaccine is made, that won't happen because it's pretty straightforward science. You take an E. coli, you splice the DNA sequence from the part of the receptor site that binds to the T cell, you grow it in a lab, you snip it so that you create the spike protein, and then you expose the person to the spike protein, and then they mount an immune response. It's pretty straightforward science. People with basic immunology backgrounds, you can get it at your local community college, understand how this works. All right, let's take a look at the future of the Delta variant. That's why, well, let's just take a look. It actually keeps saying something really positive. It keeps talking about how America is going to get control over this, that we're going to get the financial, we have the financial resources to take care of this. This is something that we get control over. I don't know what the $1 trillion package entails, but there seems to be plenty of money here for research and future vaccination. You can see here the Empress coming in, which is a wonderful creative energy. You have a nice Queen of Wands coming in, which is a power card, strong leadership. We have a nice star coming in. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles, which is abundance. I feel like not only does America come through this, but I really feel like we have the birth of a really amazing new economy starting to happen for the United States. I do know that there's a lot of tension between the United States and China right now, and I do think we need to look at that because there's been some very strange things happening, even to the point of the military getting involved a little bit. There's been some tension between the United States and China. Yeah, it's really positive, actually. It suggests that we are going to come together. There's some kind of really strong vaccine that's going to be created. I don't know if it's a cocktail of more than one spike protein, but whatever it is, it works really, really beautifully. And it seems to really upkick the American economy. The UK and China, Terry, I want to talk a little bit about that, and I'm glad she mentioned it. Terry's the TA for the HCRV class, and she always has some really great feedback, but I just want to put this up. Oh, sorry, I'm having a problem here. Okay, I accidentally deleted her question because my coffee cup was in the way. But I want to check and see about China and the US. All right, so before I do this, I want to show you. Thank you, Terry. I apologize. My finger accidentally deleted you. Okay. So for people who want to know about China and the US, I think something strange is going on. So I did a map. I did an HCRV map. Would everybody like to see the HCRV map I did? I did this before I went to Iceland. Okay, so The reason I did this map is because there's a lot of really strange things that have been happening, and I was trying to see what I was seeing. So I went into the remote state, the trance state, which is something we teach at the HCRV level. And I was just scanning the southeast all the way up into the islands, Bermuda, Belize, etc., Panama. This is the area where 100 and something years ago, 200 years ago, the slaves were brought, and they were part of the triangular trade, where this area formed a triangle of slaves, sugarcane, alcohol. And what we've been starting to see, if you look at MBBB333, who watches the skies, we're starting to see a lot of UFO activity right around here. This is where we're seeing a lot of UFO activity. So it's the former triangular trade. There are still bad people, bad operators that are still trying to do bad things in these waters. We have the National Guard and the American waters being monitored all up into Florida, etc., to make sure that there's no illegal trafficking going on. We know that the Haitian government, we know that there was an assassination coup that took place against the president of Haiti. And we know that some of the people that were responsible for the assassination worked for the Colombian military. And we also know that the CIA was working with the Colombian military in order to control this traffic and to train Colombia to control this type of monitoring of drugs, human trafficking, and weapons. So there's been some emerging evidence that other players are interested, and other players are backing up the pirates, and the bad people that are doing this, they have ties with certain governments, including Russia, right? Russia basically gives a nod to the pirates and to the criminals because it's a source of income for them. So they give a nod, just like Queen Elizabeth I gave a nod when the British were pirating the Spanish ships like the Armada, right? Anything that's helping Mother Russia is probably okay by them. So the Haitian government, the former the former president of Haiti may have been working with Russia. So now he's assassinated by the Americans. And we also see an increase in UFOs that are starting to happen around here. If you go back and you take a look at some of the film footage from MBBB333, he shows some of the film footage of some of those UFOs. So the question is, are the Americans being psyched out by foreign drones and optical illusions coming in from, say, Russia or China or something like that? And is that why it looks the way it does? Well, down here, you can see I created what looks like a propulsion system of one of the drones. I did a remote view of the white Tic Tac drone. Does anybody know about that? One of the drones is called a Tic Tac drone. So when I went into that, it looked like it had an area in between the outer part you can see and the inner part of the drone. It looked like it captured air. And it looked like the outer part, there was a rotation, and the rotation was sucking air into the vehicle and causing propulsion. So it looked like it was operating through a rotational propulsion by sucking air into this inner chamber, which drives the propulsion this way. And that's what causes the white Tic Tac to move. My feeling is that if it's not from a foreign country, I mean, if it's not an alien, I think it's most likely a foreign country. And it's starting to feel to me like it's more China than Russia. There's just something about this propulsion system that looks man-made more than an alien craft. And it looks like it is a circular propulsion system they're using. So that we do know that there's more aggressive activity happening between the United States and China right now, and that uh, they've sent military aircraft to the West to try and deal with tensions between the U.S. and China. So my feeling, no, you may not do that, Mila. I know you want attention, but don't do that. My feeling is that that craft may emerge as a type of drone craft, possibly from China. I don't think we're looking at an alien craft, but the concern is that some of the other stuff is pretty advanced. Anyway, I wanted to just show you that because it helps you see some of the crazy stuff that's going on in these waters, the corruption, the trafficking, the fact that our people are trying to monitor this whole area, the fact that there's all this pirating and illegal activity in international waters, the fact that Colombia, the US is involved, Russia's involved, there's all this illegal trafficking. So it doesn't surprise. So there's something going on. There's a lot of stuff going on that the government isn't telling us about. Yeah. Hi. Hello, Milo. How are you? Are you okay? Really? You want to say hi to your friends? Yes. You want to sit here? Hi. Where's your I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. Is this what you want? This is what she wants. Is that what you want? Yeah? Is that what you want? Okay, come get it. Come on down. Come on. Yes, come on. You coming? You coming? There you go. That's for you. She likes it. She's my favorite kitty. Oh, bye, shield maidens. Do a reading on the weather. I'm concerned about a tornado weather that is going to extreme, devastating Maya. I don't know what devastating where. Miha? What's Mia? And devastating Mia? I don't know. Okay, we can check the weather next. Let's do the weather next. All right, let's take a look at just extreme weather in the United States, starting in the US, just over the next couple. Yeah, okay, we pinned it. Okay, extreme weather. Everyone loves Mila. Yes, she comes first. She's like, I was a mother. You got to respect me. Spoiled. She can have whatever she wants, and she knows it. All right. I still feel problems politically that can have an impact on the weather. There's a lot of disagreeing. The thing is that it's so weird that the South is arguing about global warming because they're the ones that would have gotten the majority of the benefits in terms of just helping the ecosystem, particularly in those areas where things are not growing anymore because things have gotten too dry. You have the sort of truth coming in. You've got the business world being affected. You've got disagreements about the money. And then the final outcome is the Queen of Cups, which could indicate that people are still living in a la-la land, pretending that things are going to be okay. There's still a denial in certain areas about what's coming. It's the same as before. There's concerns about the southeastern United States, but specifically most of the concerns about the southeastern United States. It just feels soggy. It just feels wet and soggy, and that the majority of the water is going to be hitting the southeastern United States, and delays in infrastructure and delays in changing things like the levees, etc., could pose problems because of it. But it's just about foolish behavior, being in the clouds, rubbing their lamp. Here's some money coming in, but there's also misappropriation of funds that could be happening. For example, in Texas and Florida, if they put money there to put up levees, and the money instead is put towards bailing out the meat industry, that kind of Two of Pentacles when it comes to government aid is a problem I know that's happened in Texas and possibly continues to be a problem. Mismanagement of funds could be a problem going forward. Not good. All right, we'll ask a couple more questions and then I think we'll be done. It's interesting, Ton 219, about the future of Republicans that are still defending January. I mean, talk about completely insane. They've lost, but let's just go ahead and do a general throw to see what happens to the Congress people that are not taking January 6th seriously, the people that were possibly involved. They're trying to trivialize it because they don't want to be stripped of their duties. There she is. Hi. How you doing, Mila? You good kitty? Hello. She's staring at me because she realizes she can see me through the. You can see me through the camera, right, Mila? Yeah. Yep. She is my supervisor. Future of Jim Jordan and those other naughty people. They've been compromised by a foreign government. I mean, any way you talk about it, any way you try and retell this story, Jim Jordan and other people are going to be caught communicating, working with, and taking money from a hostile foreign government. You have an opportunity to come clean, right? And to begin to start getting with the program, but they're compromised. They've done a deal with the devil. There's a new beginning in the investigation linking Republican Party members, and it has something to do with somewhere else, right? Possibly foreign, out of the country, travel. It would be a good time for the feds to begin investigating the type of travel that was going on with certain members of the GOP, because you have travel here. travel and something about a corruptive relationship, possibly outside the U.S., somewhere else, right? And then the clarification is, can they play dumb? Well, we didn't realize that we had foreign dealings, a foreign partnership. Look at that. Here's feds. Here's the investigation, the new beginning of the federal investigation on a partnership overseas. Their relationship with whatever that deal was is finished. So even though even though corporations are people and they can put money into investing, there will be laws put into place by the feds that are going to make it virtually impossible for companies to give money directly to political parties without a major investigation or audit by the IRS. So yes, you can do it. You can give money from a corporation to back a political party, but you should know that when you do that, you will be triggering an audit by the IRS. And it looks like this type of auditing, this type of aggressive, oh yeah, go ahead, you can, oh, you donated how much money to the inaugural fund? Great. So you're going to be audited. You should be prepared for an audit. You should be prepared for forensics. That's how they're going to get control over it. So yes, on the surface, theoretically, corporations can donate, but because of what happened with the IRS, with the NRA, because of what happened with the inaugural fund, you don't want this type of an audit. You don't want forensic investigators from the IRS coming after you. And that's what's going to happen anytime large sums of money are being transferred to anybody's political party. Wow, so that's good. So that's the protection that we need. I have been asked a couple times about Kavanaugh and the fact that Kavanaugh face painter. It's over though. It's going to be linked to money outside the U.S. and they don't really have a choice. They have to leave. But I think there's actually going to be a plaque, because when I went forward 20, 30 years, I saw a plaque, and the plaque they didn't want to have something big so that people would worship Donald Trump as some kind of hero, but there's going to be a plaque to commemorate the attempt of overthrowing the U.S. government. And the names of those Congress people that were part of the coup will also be listed. And I found anywhere from 15 to 17 names, which means that anybody that was somehow involved with this coup and with this foreign government, because if you look at the cards we just threw, they had also been traveling possibly to Russia or possibly to meet with certain people. So if you're a part of that, you're going to be outed as a traitor to the state, sedition, and no, you will not only will you not be allowed to run again, but it's very likely that people in the military will be stripped of all of their rank. I would not be surprised if we saw a public stripping of people's ranks. It's going to be bad. So, does Flynn's brother have a future? Probably not, because I see people being unceremoniously stripped and removed. And it will go down in history. There will be a memorial. They will remember this day and the people that tried to overthrow the government. Yeah. It's moving in that direction probably in the next 2 to 3 months, which is the worst possible thing that can happen to you if you're trying to get reelected in November, right? Yeah, the Citizens United, Melissa. The problem with the Citizens United was that there were holes. And so people thought, well, Citizens United, we can donate to the inaugural fund, we can donate to here. And Now they're starting to realize that when you do that, you trigger an IRS audit. And that's basically what's happened to the Trump organization. All right, so we'll do one throw now on Mitch McConnell's future. I know his wife is under criminal investigation, but let's take a look at Mitch McConnell. Future of Mitch McConnell. I always feel like I'm crying when I'm Mitch McConnell. Like, we got so close. We got so close. His dreams, he got so close to his dreams only to be shattered. They thought that they were really going to take over America. I never felt like Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump liked each other. I always felt like his ego was really, Mitch McConnell really didn't like Trump. I think that Mitch McConnell is much smarter than Trump. And I think that Trump would be foolish to trust him, because you get the impression when you go into this energy that McConnell is always a step ahead of Trump and is always coming up with a way to trick him. There's something here about the partnership that happened. And then McConnell, the clever one, comes into a time of magician, transforming things, and then hidden information. In plainer words, I think that McConnell has no problems kicking Trump to the curb. There are consequences for what Mitch McConnell did. There are legal consequences. It looks like the Department of Justice under Merrick Garland is going to be taking a serious look at some of what Mitch McConnell did. You can see here over his partnerships comes a tower. So there's some kind of a disruption. It involves some kind of potential federal investigation or raid. Knowledge coming out leads him to distance himself from January 6th in the investigation. The truth comes out, boundaries. This is like a Merrick Garland kind of energy. Justice, balanced. So the truth comes out, you know. Think about being grounded, reality, that's the emperor. And when you think about the high priestess, it's associated with like the Hebrew word emunah, which is like the moon coming out, the enlightenment, or that which is hidden is revealed. So I think that in some ways, Mitch McConnell had a kind of view where he could play both sides, and he was clever and he was manipulating things. But because of where this investigation is going with Merrick Garland, it's likely that even Mitch McConnell will not be safe. He was smart enough to control Trump. He will not be smart enough to control the future, the present AG and the feds. Okay, we'll do one more question, and then I'm gonna call it a day. I think I gotta go mail some stuff, and then I think somebody wanted to go for coffee. Text me, the person that wants to go to coffee. Oh, I'm glad people liked the collective reading. It wasn't really that he wanted to investigate McConnell. It's more that there are major investigations going on. You have to realize when we did a remote view of the Justice Department, what happened was we wound up with a terrified Rod Rosenstein meeting secretly with federal agents, fearing that he couldn't trust anybody. So where does he go? He goes to the feds. And there were people within the feds that were whistleblowers, career people, women who were working and assisting Rod Rosenstein that were also cooperating with the federal investigation. So there's a lot of stuff that was going on. I just want to see about the future of Merrick Garland and what else, because it sounds like it was crazy land. So I just want to see what's going to happen with Merrick Garland. All right, the future of Merrick Garland. So people are trying to sabotage Merrick Garland's investigation, and they're actually trying to thwart him from interviewing or finding out information. You have a lover's card coming in, and then you have the Knight of Swords. So there's this aggressive reaction to communication. There's something about money, and then heartbreak. So there are people actively attempting to thwart Garland's investigation. It's about money. People got bribed. It goes back to bribes. People took money, and justice will prevail. The final outcome over the heartbreak, justice will prevail. The Queen of Swords, who brings the truth. As you can see here, there were dalliances that involved money. People got bought. You know, it's like America became the stereotype, and you can get anything you want if you're willing to pay in the United States. And foreign actors paid, and they had that dalliance. And then you have this kind of police action, legal action coming from Garland. And then again here, money and jobs, people were paid. And then the truth comes out. I think it's going to be linked back to possible foreign money dealings. People were hired to be lobbyists for certain countries and to advocate for certain countries, but they didn't declare it when they started working for Congress. They had a vested interest in helping these foreign governments, like Erdogan, who was instilled in Turkey with Russian help. You know, got linked back to Flynn. So they were all working as foreign lobbyists, taking money from foreign governments, and that's ultimately what's going to take these Congress people down. That's basically what it says. Well, that was fun, and I apologize, a little bit crazy with the sound today. I hope everybody had a good time. Thank you, everybody who signed up and joined re-signed up because we lost the, I changed up. I merged empaths and elders. So hopefully that's going to be more affordable, and we'll have some fun videos there. Thank you to everyone who's donated to the channel. It allows us to do upgrades and keep the channel looking smart and spiffy. And thank you everybody who also watched me when I was in Iceland. It was a lot of fun. My goal is to try and pick a really fun place somewhere in the world, a few times a year. So you guys can tell me where to go next, and I can do videos about health and healing and spirituality from anywhere in the world. If you folks would like to see that as well. All right, love and light. If you're trying to get in for a tarot reading, I would love to give you a tarot reading or some remote viewing. You can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com. If you need to see me for a telemedicine medical consult with a naturopathic doctor, you go to drwhimsy.com. All the information is below in information about this video. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and also join if you'd like to get some of the private videos that we do for empaths, healers, fairies, angels, all that good stuff. All right. Thank you, everyone. Love and light. And I will see you next time. Be sure and send me some emails and messages letting me know what kind of videos you would like to see as well. Morocco is probably going to be the next place in October. Yeah, so we'll go and we'll do some healing in Morocco probably. Sounds like fun, right? Very inexpensive. Stay for less than a week. You can get room and you can get hotel and airfare combined for like $1,400 and stay for like 6 days, 5-6 days. So I'm starting to realize that these small mini trips where you get 50% off and you buy it all in one is really the way to travel, right? All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks again. I will see you next time. Peace out.